Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another live author chat brought to you by Sisters Reviewing Books. I'm Amber, and this is my older and wiser sister, Crystal, right there. We are featured authors for Coastal Magic Convention. If you don't know, we're not featured authors.
Bloggers.
Lord knows. Okay, we are featured bloggers for the Coastal Magic Convention. And if you don't know, the Coastal Magic Convention is held in Daytona Beach, Florida, February 19th through the 22nd of next year. So it's coming up real quick, you guys.
Very quick.
It is an intimate reader and author event. Is an intimate reader and author event all about great stories, awesome conversations, and it really connects us with the authors that we love. So tonight we are thrilled to welcome the wonderful Darby Baham. She is a writer that writes heartfelt romances that blend modern life, friendships, and love in a way that makes it feel really real in a relatable way. Her stories are full of charm and warmth and characters that you just can't help to root for. So, Darby, welcome to the Sisters Reviewing Book live chat. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are
Hi, thank you for letting me, well, I guess not letting me join, but thank you for having me on
oh
today.
gosh, absolutely.
I
We
appreciate
are
it.
about to get to all things Darby in just a minute. We're going to let Crystal explain bingo and how everybody at home can participate in the fun that we're going to have in just a minute.
Yeah. Okay, you want me to start? It's me, bingo now. My turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so bingo. We have a bingo card. I put out a link in the chats. You can even get it later and kind of go back and mark things off that we talk about. It's just an interactive way to follow along in the chat, and we will hit on most of that even tangentially. So, go ahead and get yourself a bingo. You'll get entered if you share your bingo with us. Through chat, you'll get entered into a drawing from us for an ebook of Darby Baham's. So that'll be open through Saturday, and I'll do the drawing on Sunday. Okay, so that's bingo. Amber, anything else you're going to kind of update along the way, right?
Yep, I'm going to check in on the chat and see what people are talking about.
Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and mark pets off this thing. I'm just going to make this disclaimer every time we start
Yeah,
one of these.
he really
I
messed me up. I'm gonna have to talk to him next week and let him know that he was distracting.
If I lock the door, y'all, like they will hear them. They will cry, they will scratch, they will whatever. So they're here, and I will keep throwing them out of the way. And I'm really sorry. So we'll probably circle back if that one comes up again. But I'm just gonna say, yeah, I have two cats, and they are very needy, and apparently
Well,
want
what about Darby? Darby, do
they
you
want
have
to hang out.
any pets?
I don't have any pets of my own, but I am a godparent to some pets. So,
Cute.
so I have two god dogs, is what I like to say. One is in New Jersey and one is in DC. So I see them
Nice.
as many times as I can. Yeah.
Cute.
Just like with grandkids or kids, you get to enjoy them, and then they stay at someone else's house,
Push 'em
and
away. Yeah.
you don't
I'm
have to
good at
welcome
that.
when
I have
it's
a lot of
20 degrees.
godchildren and nieces
Yeah.
and nephews. So like,
Yes.
yeah, I'm good for the good
Um,
times and then go back to your parent.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've demonstrated how bingo works, we've now talked about pets. So go ahead and mark that off your card. And the next thing we're going to mark off is author intro because we're going to go ahead and go back and let Darby introduce herself and tell us a little bit about what you write and just, yeah, tell us about you.
Yeah, well, hi everyone. I'm so excited to join Crystal and Amber tonight. I feel like we've been talking a little bit over
Mhm.
Instagram and other places, although I never know if I'm talking to Crystal or Amber or both. So,
It's usually Crystal.
okay, good to know. I am, as Amber said, my name is Darby Baham. I'm an author, a writer, storyteller. Sort of been a writer all my life. I was that little nerdy kid that, you know, did a better job of writing out her feelings than like speaking them. And I've sort of gone on a journey from everything from being like a reporter to a government communications specialist to like magazines and just anything communications and writing. And my first book came out with Harlequin in 2022. So I've been doing the Friendship Chronicles since then. Six books are in this. The series has six books, and I'm sure we'll talk about a few of them here. I like to say that basically, Well, one, I say that I'm a storyteller on a mission to make women like me feel seen. And women like me encompasses so many different things. It's obviously Black woman, right? But also like plus size woman, woman who like has always been told that she was a little bit team too much, woman who like has a lot of ambition, who's trying to figure out like that balance between family, friends, career, love,
Mhm.
all the things that we're all trying to figure out. A recovering perfectionist, like I can talk about the how perfectionism is killing us for days and days. Fashion like lover, politics lover, like basically just woman, right? When I
Every
say
woman,
woman
I feel
like
like
me, right?
you touched on so much. I'm like, oh, I relate to that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
the
feel that
hope.
in your book. So that
Right.
all comes out in your
Yeah.
book. So
Well,
that's
I'm glad to hear that, Amber. So yeah, so really it's my attempt to make all people, but particularly all women, and especially Black women, feel seen and feel like I too can have love because you need that representation and you need that like reminder
yeah,
sometimes, right?
absolutely.
Um, and hopefully along the way, like, you go through some twists and turns just like in life. But it's always great to have that happy ever after at the end. That's like, oh, good, this worked out.
And you put them through it now
Yeah, yeah.
before they get
Well,
to you.
we go through it in
Well,
life.
yeah, I know. Like, I think that's another in all the crave people have that craving for like 30s 40s kind of that age group, and I feel like your books kind of go into that. You've been through the fun, the whatever, and now you're ready to settle and you're trying to kind of figure all that out, and you got your girlfriend while you do. And I love that. It's very relatable, especially after you've been through all of that. So,
I'm
definitely.
glad to hear. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And I think yeah, Amber's right. You put them through it, but and everything you said, I think you've captured so far in the three books that I've read. I know I love how Harlequin, and we've had these conversations before, has grown since I remember growing up, and the covers and the diversity that I'm seeing now. And I enjoy reading the authors of different ethnicities and different backgrounds. Like I learn different cultures and different, and it's just so cool to get that, reading. That's why we read, right? Like
Yeah.
to live another experience a little bit. And I think I've got to do that through your books in little ways. So I enjoy that.
I love that. I mean, I think that reading, I mean, I can talk about the importance of reading all day, but I think that reading is the best way that you can learn empathy and that you can relate to people who are both like you and not like you. So I always, whenever I meet people or I hear or talk to kids and they're like, "Oh, I don't like reading." I'm like, "Wait, nope, let's stop. Let's talk. You probably don't like what the school is making you read,
Yep.
Mhm.
right? But there's something out there that you're going to love reading, and it just brings out a different aspect in you that like you didn't know was there, right? You learn about cultures, you learn about traditions. Maybe you see yourself in it and you're like, oh, I'm not alone, just all kinds of things. If you don't have the money to travel the world, you can just pick up a book, you know? So there's so many things. I was like a nerdy kid. So my parents and my grandparents would get the daily newspaper every day, or obviously the daily newspaper. And like I remember having my grandfather, he's reading the sports section, my grandmother is reading the A section, my mom is reading like, whatever section, my dad is reading whatever, and I'm reading the comic section, right? And so it's not like, oh, I was, 5 reading like Tolstoy, right? But it's just encouraging like the act of reading and making it where it's not like always where you have to do a book report on it or always where you have to do,
I'm I'm
something.
struggling with that now. My son is 10 and I want him to
Yeah,
find that book that just really makes him want to pick up a book and read
right.
it. And we have not found that yet, and it's
And that's
making
hard
me a
for
little
that age
sad. I want
group.
him to have that
Yeah,
joy.
yeah. I feel like that's really hard for that age group, particularly for boys,
Hmm.
because there's like a little bit of YA, like younger YA for young girls that they can get sort of, like we had the Babysitters Club and like that kind of stuff. But for boys, it's like, well, what are they reading? They're
I
usually trying to just go
I'm
out
trying to
and do
figure
some
out.
sports or something or play some video games, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, well, can we find like a dragon or something that you might like? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, with Amber's husband is really into comics and stuff, and I
Yeah.
know
So
a
we do
lot of
comics
my
for sure.
a
Yeah,
lot
love
of
comics.
my students in that middle school, that high school, I'm ninth grade. I have ninth grade and some seniors, but ninth graders see a lot of the manga. I think they enjoy the pictures, with the stories and all. So you never know when he might stumble upon something like that and find a joy in it. And so yeah.
Working on it.
Okay, well, you already touched on, I think a little bit like inspiration, and I always like to kind of ask how you feature in your books. Like, um, obviously, authors always like, oh no, nobody's directly in there, but I feel like there's always a little bit of the author. Like one of the reasons I love Coastal Magic is getting to know the authors and then reading their books, and just in little ways their personality shines through. So how do you, and I feel like you've touched on it, but if you want to add anything to it, how do you fit into your books? Where do you see you and little parts of you in your book?
Oh, so maybe I'm going against the grain because I'm all throughout my books. I don't even try and deny it. I mean, obviously they're fiction. I haven't gone through the exact things that the characters have gone through. Although there have been some like really bad dates that I've
I
taken
was gonna say, I
inspiration
hope
from.
it's not the dates in London Calling because seriously, there is one book that we love, and the datings are terrible. And the rivalry, like I will be talking about this stuff.
Yeah,
Are they real? Because those men were terrible in
they
London.
were
In the
terrible.
third book.
I mean, terrible. I was ready to put the book down. I was like, you can't go on this many bad dates.
They were terrible. So those dates were inspired by dates that different friends had had.
Oh
So they
goodness.
weren't dates that I particularly experienced, but they definitely and I dramatized them and like,
Still.
push them up. But like I don't remember if it was London Calling or Bloom Where You Planted, but one of the Robin goes on a date with someone and mentions that like he said that he didn't believe that slavery, that like
Oh,
the
it's in
transatlantic
the
slavery.
second book that
Yeah.
it gets said, and yes, when
That
they do the date
absolutely
packs
happened
or
to a friend
whatever.
of
Yeah.
mine.
Oh my goodness.
And
Oh
when she was
my
telling me the
goodness.
story, I was like, you have to know that that's going in a book, right? Like that is going in a book. I don't know where, I don't know when, but it's going in there somehow.
And I totally believe it because I've got, friends who kind of gone through a divorce, and they're, back in the dating world again. And so I'm getting that like online dating thing. And let me tell you the stories.
Oh
I
yeah, it's
mean, it was
bad.
like she was got in a relationship, and I was like, okay, we're nice and steady. And then, like, okay, it's not working out. I'm starting over again. I'm like, oh, not again. like, I'm like, all of the stories. I mean, they're entertaining, but you feel for them. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry you're dealing with this. So yeah, it's crazy. And then it also reminds me of that. I know Amber, I had to show it to her, but there was that guy who does the reels where he turns like the really bad Tinder conversations into songs. Have you seen them?
No, I haven't seen that.
One of the most popular songs was over the summer for people who obviously it was in their algorithm was I Have One Daughter, where
Oh, I did know that one. Yeah, yeah,
and he
yeah.
does a whole bunch, and it is just absolutely insane. You're like, somebody wrote that? What?
Yeah. Yeah, that one
So
was definitely it blew up. It's like, I have one daughter.
like ellipses, like I
Right.
don't understand.
Yeah.
That was my one of my favorite videos. And so when I read your book, Amber said that too, because that's what the morning I paused in London Calling, and I was getting ready. And every morning right now, I listen to my Taylor Swift Life of a Showgirl album. I turn it on, and Opalite starts, and we're like dancing through the lightning strikes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what she's going through
Yeah,
right now.
for
And I knew
sure.
you were going to give her, I knew it was coming. I'd already gotten the hint of what was happening because I didn't read the back because the back tells you, but I didn't know
We
100%.
don't read the backs of really.
Just dive
I'm
in.
learning that a lot of people don't actually. This is
And
not
it
something that
it
I
clouds my and then really I just listen to what everybody else says. Oh, this is a great book. I'm like, okay, hand it over here.
well,
Let somebody
word
else
of
do the
mouth, you can't go
thinking.
wrong with that.
Yeah.
Let somebody else do the thinking for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't know for sure, who she was going to end up with for a little while, but then I got the feeling where it was going, and I was like, okay, she's going to give her a happy because, oh my goodness, this
Yeah, she had to get some
girl.
redemption. She has to go
No,
through
but it
like
was a
two,
lot of the
three
book of
frogs.
bad dates. I was like, she got to get to this. She got to get to this romance because
Yeah,
this poor
yeah,
girl is going through it.
yeah.
And she did, but she did. She was so fun. I love
She
how
just kept
strong.
going. Yeah, she had gumption. She wasn't going to give
I
up.
like
But
how strong and independent you made her because I think, again, it's that hindsight. Like I think going forward, I mean, going through breakups would suck and dealing with what she did would suck. But there's just this part where you're like, but I'm kind of okay with just me if that's how it works out, like so that sort of leads into my next question.
Okay.
My favorite thing about the series so far, obviously, is the friendships, and that's what you've got going on. So, was that the inspiration behind the whole series? I mean, obviously, it's called the Friendship Chronicles. Like, is that how you started it? Like, I'm going to have all these friends, and this is what's going to happen, or how did this series come to be?
Actually, no, funny enough. It was early on, but not with the first book. So when I got my deal with Harlequin, I just had the Shoe Diaries manuscript. And I had in my mind that I was gonna do you remember, did you guys ever read Confessions of a Shopaholic?
I think I've
I was
yeah,
like
seen.
really big into that
it was
series for
really
a
big.
while.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but basically, like it was a series, but it followed one character,
yeah.
and you got to know all of the friends, but they weren't the like point of it, kind of.
Mm,
Um, but like each book, so I think it might still be going, but like each book just followed this one character and like her love life. That was sort of what I initially thought. And Harlequin was like, no, you have created these like dynamic storylines of all these friends. We want to know what happens to them. And so I was like, oh, okay, sure. I can do that. And actually, I've read more series like since then, and I do enjoy when like I enjoy the fact that you can pick up a book. I mean, you guys are doing it one way where you're starting from the beginning of the series and reading it, but you can also just pick up any book in the series because it follows a different person
Which
in the
we do
friend
that
group.
too. We just
Yeah,
for the group read was the first book, so that's
right.
what
So
we
then you started there.
we're
Yeah.
happy to start anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tell people honestly, I'll ask people like, what's your favorite trope? And then
Mhm.
I'll just point them to, or like, what's something that's been going on in your life? And then I'm like, okay, so you pick this book to start with. And then if you really like that, like go back and read some of the others, but you don't have to start with the first one to understand what's happening with the rest of the characters.
yeah.
So that's kind of how the Friendship Chronicles sort of like came
Mhm.
to be. It was like, oh, well, um, I got excited that they wanted to know, like, well, what happens with Jennifer and what happens with Robin and those kind of things. So I was like, well, let me build out their stories and see how they get their happy ever after.
Yeah, I would be upset if I read it and I loved all those characters and then they just didn't go anywhere. I would think about
Right.
that for a long time. So thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Not at
shout out to
all.
my editor. Right.
Yes. She
I mean,
knew.
I love the friendships in general, and I love that in your series, the friendship is kind of is sort of the focus. Like even in the last book, London Calling. I mean, and without being too spoilery, it's about her dating adventures, and it's the friendship and the friends coming in and helping her to look at things a little differently and think about things a little differently. And I think that it's more about that and those friendships in your life and how they support you and straighten you out when you need to be straightened out and are just there for you. And I think again, I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in finding that person, and that person is great. It is great to find that person and be in that life, but friendships, like you can't, I don't think you can truly I don't feel like life is complete without having those people, you can be like, let's go have coffee. Let's go, let's have our get together,
Not to
catch
Thursday.
up on.
On a
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Right. On a Tuesday. It's never on a Thursday, actually.
No.
Um, yeah, I saw something the other day. I can't remember who was talking. And they were saying that like if you ask a man who's a husband who his best friend is, he's gonna say his wife. And if you ask the wife, she's gonna say like her best friend, like her actual
Mhm.
best friend.
Right.
Right? And I think that that speaks to like the importance of friendships in women's lives.
Mhm.
There have been studies that have talked about like women who have like um best friends or like friends that are important to them. They live longer, they're happier, just like the act of being able to vent with your friend reduces stress in women. So like that kind of stuff I think is for me personally really important. My friends and my sisters are super important in my life. I don't know what I would be able to do without them. But also I think in the context of romance, I find it really interesting when I'm reading a book and I'm like, how is she doing this? And no one is calling her out on it. Like, where are her
Right.
friends?
Right. They're just going along with it. You're
Just
right.
la la
They
la
do. It's like, oh, you're gonna run away with this guy and you just met him. Okay,
la.
let's pack the bags.
And no one has said like, I don't know if we think this is a good idea.
Right. What's your long-term plan here? What's your 5-year
Yeah,
plan with this
yeah,
guy?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think also, we think about romance, I think a lot of times in like a light way, but really we're talking about people finding love, which is one of the hardest things you can do in this world. Finding
Mhm.
lasting love for
Yeah.
sure, and not like fly by night love. And I don't know how you do that without like a good support system that is making sure you're not kind of messing things up along the way.
Right.
Definitely.
And
So
that's really
as
what I loved about the books was how real everything felt, like
Yeah,
what she was going through and being able to connect with all the different characters and where they were in their life. It really was, it felt really real. So you did a good
thank
job. But
you.
still, at the same time, it was romance and you got that happily ever after, but it wasn't just, light and fancy the whole time. So,
my favorite book, and we're just kind of, it's usually just an excuse for us to tell you how much we love your books, by the way, um, is actually,
I
and one
appreciate
you
it.
suggested to me because of the teacher side of things. The bloom where you're planted, um, because she was a teacher, and I was a little worried at first, bigger and better for herself. And then she didn't. Like, I really liked the way that she approached it. But I think what I really loved about that book was one of the themes to me was comparison. And,
Mhm.
comparison can be the thief of joy. And you sometimes might need to talk to somebody and work through that and learn how to healthily approach it and handle it. But I also think it can be good. It can be what pushes you to change something, to be like, okay, if I am thinking that maybe I'm not as good as them, different, do I want something different? And I like that Jennifer had that push from her friends. They weren't trying to be, and they had never made her feel bad, and she had to work through that because she had some unhealthy
Yeah,
feelings that she had to figure out. And then of course there was a comparison side with, as she was figuring her relationship out, and what he was going through with feeling that she was comparing him to other people as well. But I just thought that theme of comparison is so important in life nowadays,
yeah.
with social media and everything that there is out there. It's not even friends, it's just everyone in life. You're constantly thinking. And so I really enjoyed that theme, and I thought you did a fantastic job with that.
Thank you. That one was really important to me. I think, particularly when I was writing it, I have a lot of like really amazing friends. And I agree with you, Crystal. I think there's a healthy balance, but it's easy. It's so easy to fall on the other side of it. And you start thinking negatively about yourself because you're comparing your journey to someone else's journey, right?
Mhm.
And so I really wanted to show like just how much that can like derail you. And, that's why it's called Bloom Where You're Planted. Like once you're actually secure in yourself and secure in like what you bring and your amazingness. And like you said, she didn't have to like leave education to become, whatever this thing
Yeah.
was that she was looking for. Um, that's when you can use like your friends as inspiration as opposed to being jealous of them or jealous of their relationships or anything like that.
Well, and even being reminded that to focus on what she appreciated and what they brought to her life. Like, you've gotten so stuck on how they make you feel different or not as good, or that you should be. But she put her energy into, okay, what do I appreciate about them? What do they bring to my life, and how can I focus on that? And I think that was good. Overall, that book has been my favorite. It was really good, even though I did think the last one that we read, London Calling, was hilarious with the dates, because you did a good job. Jennifer, we have an
Different
audience.
vibes, right? I mean,
Yes.
if we're, I try to warn people that the Shoe Diaries is a tearjerker. If you don't read the back copy, you may not know that.
right.
They Harlequin definitely tried to like say that through the back copy, but this is when I learned that a lot of people don't read
Oh,
it. Shoe Diaries is definitely a tearjerker. I think Bloom Where You're Planted is somewhere in the middle. It's like it's not necessarily something that you're gonna like cry about, but there's certainly a lot of like self-reflection that goes on in there, and you know,
I've had a lot of anxiety just with their
yeah,
relationship kind of being off, and I
yeah,
wanted them to like fix it and get right. So it was
I
definitely
did too, right?
yeah.
Like, what are they gonna?
Come on.
And then London Calling is more of like it is more of a rom-com where it's kind of like, oh my gosh, what is this girl going through?
Oh, and the love
Free was
interest,
my favorite.
the
I
love
really
interest in that one, I really ended up enjoying, and I was like, man, I'd really like a little bit more time with him. He
Yeah.
seemed fun. Of course, the sister and all too, so that was good. So, real quick, audience questions since we knocked that one off our card, y'all. Jennifer asked, well, going back to the friendships conversation,
Yeah.
are there any conversations that are have or and activities that happen in those friends groups that is based or on your life in your friendship circles?
Um, Great question, Jennifer. It's not, I wouldn't say, okay, so here's what I'll say. I try my best to not have someone like read the book, unless I've said like this is going in the book, to have someone read the book and be like, wow, that is a direct conversation that we had, right? Like I don't want to do that. It's supposed to be fiction for a reason, right? But I think that you get influenced unconsciously sometimes.
Mhm.
So definitely the dynamics, I would say, are certainly inspired by my friendship groups. I have never tried to have like I don't remember if it's Taco Tuesday or Taco Thursday now, but like whatever
we did
taco
Taco
night.
Thursday, and it was
And it never is on a
unbelievable.
Thursday, right?
Right.
Right. That is not an exact experience that I had. I just thought that that was kind of a funny thing. Um, but yeah, like when I lived in DC, I went out to happy hour a lot with my friends after work. In New York, we're more of like we go to brunch a lot. And the conversations over brunch are often like, I know that the waiters are like, what are they
Right.
talking about?
You walk up and you're like, "Ooh, you shouldn't have heard that last little bit."
Right? You
And
came in on the exact wrong moment.
it's Nacho Thursday. It looks.
Yeah,
That's it
I
right
yeah.
haven't
there.
had tacos today, so but it's Nacho Thursday.
Thank you. That
Gotcha.
would make sense because I like nachos better than
There
tacos.
you go. See, that's not right, but I like a taco, so you know.
Yeah.
That reminds me of, was it the second book where they end up getting a table, but they weren't supposed to sit without somebody there, and then they have to fake like she
They
was
put the
there.
chair over it. Did that happen? Have you done that
Now
before?
that has happened at that exact spot actually because that is a spot in
Smart.
DC. Yeah, it's called Stands, and on Friday nights it is packed, like, and you can't make reservations. So so usually they won't seat you without your full party. So like there have been times that we've had to sort of pretend that
But
everyone is
like
here.
we were here.
Yes,
But
Well, you've
our
got
full
that
party is here.
one
Yes.
late friend. It's gonna happen, traffic and
Yeah.
uh, this girl, she has multiple personalities. She counts for two people.
Right, sure.
It's a medical condition. Okay. So yeah, that was entertaining. Okay, so just a quick turn right real quick, and
Yeah.
let's as we get to our close to our meeting wrap up time. Let's do my random question. I always try to come up with something over.
I already marked random question off because I feel like.
Oh, well, there's always random
But
questions.
go ahead, ask another one.
Okay, so this is just a personal question.
Sure.
About personal about you, my own personal reasons for asking. So originally it was going to be about, and we can go back to this like Thanksgiving and the fall winter kind of favorite meal. But then I had a question. So is soup season a thing, or are you okay with like soup all year round? Like, would you eat soup in the summer? Like, would you make your favorite soup in the summer? And
Ooh.
maybe you would, but does it feel right? I just need to know.
That's a great question. I'm gonna say yes, but so I will eat soup. I love soup, so I will eat soup all year round, but I don't eat gumbo all year round. Gumbo for me is specifically a winter meal, even though it's in the soup family. But like, I guess I would say I won't eat like days of soup.
Okay. I
Right?
enjoy it better when it's cold outside and I
Yeah.
can be
I
cozy
just
inside.
had some broccoli cheddar today, actually.
Um,
Um, So yeah, when it starts getting warmer, I'm like, oh, I want some ramen, I want some
Hmm.
soup, I want some pho. But there are times that I just randomly want soup also. And that could be at any given point.
Well, my husband laughs at me every year because we're meal planning and we get into the cooler months, I'll go, okay, now we can put like chili on the list. And not that we never eat it in the other
Yeah.
times, but like now I put it on with like excitement. And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, because we can't eat it in June. And I'm
You
like,
Wait,
can.
can
You
you make chili?
can.
They would convict you. They would take you away and be like, this person is off their rocker. We got to take them away.
No, we're adults. We can eat soup whenever we want to.
I
I
just,
actually
it's
enjoy ice cream more in the winter, so
winter
that's kind
me.
of the
Yeah, I'm
opposite,
weird.
you
I'm
know?
weird like that too with like coffee and stuff. I honestly, for whatever reason, enjoy like cold coffee more in the colder time. And I don't understand why. I'm like, this is weird. But maybe it's just that want to be like, I don't even know. I have no idea. I'm
I
the
don't
same
know.
way though. Ice cream more cold. Let's go get ice cream. Why? It won't melt as fast. I don't know the answer. But I think it's more that for me, like soup in the house is there's a feeling and a warmth with it, and I don't want that even with air conditioner, as Jennifer said, that we have air conditioner and heat, so we shouldn't have to have seasons or no good reason for there to be limits on soup. I like that cozy feeling
That's
that's associated with soup in the
Just
colder months. And
tradition.
so in the warmer
pretty.
months, I'm like, if we have to absolutely have to have chili this week because we're out of meal options, like I love chili, cool.
Yeah,
But if not, then let's just stick with soup. So that was my random question. So
that's
I, I,
fair. It's a good point.
I've got a couple options, Crystal, because I need to get bingo as we're
okay, what
right.
you got?
So we can either go with travel slash setting or process and routine. Either one of those will give me
We'll
bingo.
give you the choice, and
So
then we'll have to.
process and
Oh
routine, or do you
gosh.
want to talk about travel and setting?
I mean, I could talk about either.
Have you been to London? What was your inspiration for sending her to the UK?
I've been to London a few times. I've never lived in London, so I did have to do a lot of research on that. I interviewed like maybe 4 or 5 people to just sort of get a sense of, and I particularly Americans who had moved to London and lived there because I wanted to like get their experience. But so in the first book, is it the first book or is it the second book? In either one of the first two books, you find out a little secret about Robin, that she's been, can I say this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, that she's been secretly dating a prince.
Okay.
Can I
You
tell
find
you
out
I
in
was
book
just
one. I mean,
can
in
I
book
tell you I
one
was
at
just
the
a little
end
disappointed.
that she didn't end up with him.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
I've
what do
heard
you
that.
mean you've broken up with the princess? Well, I thought I was getting a prince in this book. Now I was
Yeah.
very happy by the end of it. Very happy. But at the beginning, I was like, nah, I thought we were gonna be dating a prince in England and I was gonna be living what
Yeah.
happened?
Nah, I know,
Then we went on
sorry.
terrible dates and I was like,
I know.
what is
I
going
know.
on?
People were like, wait, so she broke up with the prince to deal with these jokers? What are you doing?
No, but the
Yeah.
reason why she did was valid. Like I couldn't
Yeah,
imagine dating and not being able to be seen
yeah,
or talked
yeah,
about. Like that'd be miserable. So
yeah.
I get it. I get it.
And I mean, honestly, I don't know if you guys have been through this, but I certainly have, where it's like you break up with that person that like everybody wants you to be with, right? And it seems like it's like a fairy tale because you're like something about it just doesn't feel right. And then you're hoping that like you do that and you get rewarded for trusting yourself. And then she goes on this journey of meeting all these jokers, and you're like, what? Did I make a wrong decision? Like, what
Yeah,
is
I'm like, we
happening?
need to go back a couple of
Go back to the
chapters,
prince.
fix this. I'm sure he's still around. Call him up.
Yeah.
I think that was one of my favorite parts, and I don't think you can spoil these books because you kind of know, but I
Yeah.
won't give specifics. But towards the end of the book, when they kind of have a bad date off, and then I was like, I think she's got you, and she kind of sprung that way. You're like, wait, what? Go go back. Like
Wait, you dated the prince?
you left some details out.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I don't I wanted to see I wanted to see Robin in a new setting. Um, One, I needed to go back to the fact that like she dated the prince. Like we needed to move her forward somewhere. But also I liked the idea of having her go to a new setting and have to deal with like meeting new people because the girls are so used to just being around each other at that point, right? Like they've lived in DC for the longest time. They went to college together. They haven't had to go through this experience of like going to a new place
Mhm.
and keeping your friendships close and then also trying to meet someone new and, da da da. So London just sort of seemed like a fun way to do that without her having to learn a new language.
Right.
Right.
People.
I thought it was interesting too how you don't think the opposite way because over here we're all like, oh, accents and like how somebody over there might be kind of excited to be like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
dating an American. I was like, interesting. It's a different take on that. So, okay, well, there's so many things. So we talked about travel setting, and you're definitely going to hit. We'll talk about kind of what you're working on. I guess I want to ask that you write romance, and this series is in the romance genre. Do you have any interest in any other genres? Is romance your passion? What are you thinking
My passion is writing women's stories. So, however that comes out, I can't speak about them too much, but there are a few like different whips that I'm working on right now.
Cool.
They're all different levels of romance for sure, but one of them, probably falls in the like more women's fiction realm. But yeah, I read pretty much every genre. I love Octavia Butler and like how she sets scenes and, brings you into the story that's like I would never think that I could relate to someone from like the 1600s who has, that kind of thing. So I'm open to all genres as long as I'm telling women's stories. That's really the passion for me. I do though really like kind of as we talked about earlier, sending people on twists and turns and then giving you that warm hug at the end. Um, just to
Dipstick,
remind you
I think.
like,
I think that's what we call it. You know.
I'm gonna squeeze one more question in and then
yeah.
we'll just wrap up because I really want to know. I'm just curious. Who, especially with like conventions in mind and everything, like who have you or would you fangirl over meeting an author? Why?
Oh, I have already fangirled over a few.
Okay.
I met Jasmine Guillory in May in Atlanta at the Black Romance Book Festival.
Okay.
And I was trying not to like because I've met celebrities before, but it's different meeting like your fan authors, right? As an author. So it's funny because when I was a journalist, like I've interviewed people who other people would fangirl over, and I was like, that's nothing. But I'm meeting Jasmine Guillory. Um I've met Tia Williams. I've met Miss Beverly Jenkins. Like I've met some of the really like high up there authors, especially in the romance genre, and certainly have had to compose myself to be like, I don't want them to be like, who's this weirdo? You know? But just like telling them how much I appreciated them, how much they've inspired me, how much I love like their books. I think if you read my books and you've read a Jasmine Guillory book or you've read a Tia Williams book, you can certainly see like inspiration there. And then I mean Beverly Jenkins is like the grandmother of like romance. So
So Coastal Magic gave me the opportunity to get a private chat with her.
wow, that's
It was
amazing.
like through with the
Yeah.
three of others, just like this, through the reading challenge, and she was a featured author, and I won enough points to chat with her, and it was a really cool experience.
She's
So
so lovely
thank you,
too.
Coastal Magic. Oh, so nice, and
Yeah.
she controlled that whole chat. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
I saw her, so it's funny. She was waiting for her Uber or Lyft or whatever, right? She was waiting for a ride share. And I saw her and I was like, I don't think people realize who that is, but I want to go and introduce myself. And I was worried that once I did, people would
Yeah.
recognize her. So I sort
Mm.
of like snuck over a little bit and I was like, I just wanted to introduce myself and like get a picture with you. Is that okay? And she's like, yeah, it's totally fine.
Oh,
No worries. And then as I was getting in my car, I saw like a massive like wave of people going to her, and I was like, oh
no,
no.
free. Bye.
I did exactly what I was worried I was gonna do. But she was
No.
really lovely. And she's one of those people who I don't know if she realizes like why people fangirl over her so much. Like she just is who she is. She's just
Right.
Beverly Jenkins, right? But yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome. She was, yeah, our first like maybe 2 years at Coastal.
Yep. Mhm.
She was there, so it was always it introduced us to her because I was
Nope.
unfamiliar.
Hadn't
I mean,
I've
I
been reading historical romance and nobody had shoved the Beverly Jenkins in front of me. I don't
Yeah.
understand why.
until I started Coastal
I
Magic
have.
and all that kind of stuff.
Until
Anyway,
you
like
do, right? Because
I
I
was
didn't grow up reading historical romance either.
well, and Amber did a little bit more than I did, but I literally
I'm fully deep into it. I've never seen a Beverly Jenkins. Maybe I wasn't looking hard enough. There's a lot of romance books
well,
out
one
there.
of the reasons we started doing this is because you get kind of in ruts where now not so much, but when I was growing up, like I love Nora Roberts and she's got about
Love
300
her.
books.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I could read just Nora Roberts. What's cool? I just reread them again. What's the big
Yeah.
deal? And so it wasn't until we kind of started reading, branching out a little bit and audiobooks kind of brought us out there. And then we started doing this and I was like, there's so many authors out there. And there's so many awesome things that nobody would even know about if somebody else had said, bookstores are still a thing, but they're not like it was when we were growing up where,
Mhm.
you just go hang out at, a bookstore or Barnes and Noble, and kind of whatever. So I was like, I want to do this and put like pictures of indie authors books out there on our website, so it's one more place that somebody might see an author they would have never seen before, like, oh, that's cool, or you like this book and then they see that you're also reading that and like, oh, I'll check that out. Because it wasn't just it wasn't just historical, it's just there's so many books out there, and you just
How
the
are you going to find them, any of them? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Crystal Magic, we know we love that y'all come because we are like, okay, I'll put this book closer to the top of the TBR, and then we read them, and now I'm like, okay, now I got to read like all of these books.
And I need you to come back every year and
I wanted to read your most recent one because that it was releasing when we first started. Once I knew you were going to be one of our authors, I started following you on Instagram and I saw the cover and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to read this. And then they picked the Shoe Diaries and I was like, I'm not reading it because I'm going to read the most recent one. And then I was like, okay, I'll squeeze it in. And now I'm committed to the whole thing. Like, I want to read them all. And I'm like, I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. The funny thing is, I've talked about this on other places. Like, I didn't grow up reading romance at all. It's a genre that I've fallen in love with. I wasn't, you hear from people who are like, oh, I was sneaking them out of my mom's. No, that wasn't me. I love that. I love hearing people talk about,
Yeah.
I feel
how they were
like
reading romance at like 10.
whatever, well, whatever age that was
My
when I was.
mom handed me a romance, so I would leave her alone while she read hers. So
That's fair.
you're old enough, go read this one.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, go on, I'm done.
That's fair. Yeah, I didn't really get into romance until I was in my 20s, and it was by accident. Like no one said, "Here, read this great romance novel." They said, "Read this book that I think that you'll love and that you'll relate to." And I wanted to read more books like that. And I didn't know that it was romance. It just so happened to be that it was romance. But like the more I read those books, I was like, "Oh, I want to I want to do that. I want to tell those kind of stories." So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm glad that that Coastal Magic has introduced us to you, and look
Same.
forward to finishing the series and any of those other works in progress that you have in the future. I love
Thank you.
women's.
Reading.
I'm a big fan of like women's fiction. I know that it's
Yeah.
changed what people want to call it, but I love that kind of journey that they go through. So I think definitely sounds like some of what you're writing I would love.
Mhm.
Um, but well, we went over a little bit, and I wanted to. That's my fault. I wanted to hear about your fangirling. And so respectful of everyone's time because we appreciate all those who tune in. Just a couple of quick reminders, and I'm going to let Darby wrap up. Bingo, you have until Saturday to send me a picture of your card that you got bingo, and I'll enter you into the drawing, and I will do a drawing on Sunday. And I don't know, follow us on Instagram and
Facebook.
on Facebook. Thank you. And we'll do another one of these in about a month. So yeah, and hope to see you in at Coastal
It's
Magic because we
really quickly. I don't want to do the math, but we'll be seeing you. in
Yeah,
person.
it's
It's
coming
so
quick.
soon. It's so soon. But
I just
I'm very excited. Yes.
So it does come quick because I'm like, oh yeah, I just started booking. I just booked my room, and I'm like, oh,
I
we got
know.
plenty of
Same.
time. I'm like, no, we don't have plenty of time. Like it is almost the end of the year. What is going on?
It's
So
around the
with that,
corner.
with that said, Darby, you want to let everybody know where they can find you, like where you hang out, where they can check in with you, and then just anything else about what you're working on that you want to kind of wrap up with.
Yeah, I am on, let's see, Instagram, Twitter, because I'm not calling it X, Twitter, Threads, and Facebook. More likely than not, you can catch me. I'm on all of those four, but if you actually want to talk to me, it's best on Instagram. I'm on Instagram all the time. I respond to DMs. Like I like to be in conversation with folks. All of them, I think except Facebook, are at Darby Baham, and Facebook is like author Darby Baham or something like that. But I try to get on the rest of them throughout the week, but Instagram is where you can catch me for real. I also have a newsletter that you can subscribe to if you don't want to be on social media and just want to have like updates come directly to your inbox. I do not spam you. I barely do it every 2 months, so you don't have to worry about that. But you can go to my website, darbybaham.com/newsletter and get it there. And the other thing I would say is I have reading guides for anyone who's in like book clubs. They're free. You can download them from my website as well. And I have Spotify playlists for each book. So
Oh,
that's a
that's
thing
so
that I really
cool. That's
love
good to
doing.
know.
Yeah.
why didn't I know this 3 books ago?
Yeah.
Okay, good
Well,
to
So
that
all
is
the music that's referenced in the book is put into a
be
playlist for each of
cool.
them. Yeah.
That is awesome. I love it. Again, Darby, thank you so much for being willing to hang out with us. It always makes me so happy when you guys are willing to show up and chat with us and let everybody get to know you and your book. So,
We're gonna
it,
be best friends and just
Yes, we already are, I feel like. I can't wait to meet you guys in person in February.
it's gonna
But
be
yeah,
so
thank you for having me tonight. I really appreciate it.
awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in if you have tonight, and if you're watching this late, again, send us the bingo. Okay, everybody have a great night.